to be back behind the desk. Because, thank you. Because, look, you know what they say about my sequels, right? They're always better. Don't fact check that. All right, we got a great show for you tonight. Zoya Akhtar will be here. Let's get into the headlines. Okay, let's kick things off with the insane sports news from this weekend. The LA Dodgers signed superstar Shohei Ohtani to the biggest contract in all of sports history, $700 million. Wild, right? That is $1 for every minute it takes to watch one single baseball game. And also, let me just say, it is so great that Asian kids have another athlete to look up to. Am I right? But let's acknowledge it's also a lot of pressure. Dad, I got 100 on my chemistry test, but only 80 on your fastball. Go outside and practice. But look, as crazy as this is, there was another sports story that might be even more shocking.
Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott is addressing old comments about the 9/11 terrorists being a model for teamwork. They were brought to light by an independent journalist. The report said at a team meeting in 2019, quote, he cited the hijackers as a group of people who were all able to get on the same page to orchestrate attacks to perfection.
McDermott says now that he never should have mentioned the hijackers. He says his original intent was to use the attacks to encourage the team because the events were so easily recognizable.
I think this football coach may have taken the wrong lesson from 9/11. Like, when we said never forget, we didn't mean Al-Qaeda's teamwork. Although, to be fair, this is not something you ever expect to hear from a football team. I mean, maybe a scumbag football team like the Eagles, but not a respectable franchise like the Bills. Although, look, if we're giving Coach McDermott the benefit of the doubt, he didn't give the most inappropriate pep talk I've ever seen. Huddle up, everyone. Come on. Huddle up. In the second half, we're going to get out there. We're going to completely knock them out like Bill Cosby. I want you to end them like O.J. ended his marriage. Our offense is going to be like mass shootings in America. They'll give up on even trying to stop us. On three, clear eyes, full hearts. Epstein didn't do it. Move on to the war in Ukraine. I know, it's crazy that it didn't end even though you stopped paying attention. But the money the U.S. is sending Ukraine for the war is about to end, which is why their president is coming to see if there's any more cash lying around.
President Zelensky will make another trip to the U.S. this week as Congress and the White House are at odds over funding the war-torn country. But here's the problem. Congress seems to be at a stalemate over sending much-needed aid to this country. With just a few days left before the Hill wraps up for the year, Democrats hope to pass a bill that would provide funding for both Ukraine and Israel. But Republicans refuse to sign off on it because it does not include their proposals to enhance border security and stem migration.
We're obviously deeply concerned about this. We've got a few more weeks here, and then we're out of Schlitz.
We're out of Schlitz? You're describing war funding with an old beer slogan? I'm surprised you didn't go with, come on, Congress. What's But yes, military aid to Ukraine and Israel is being held up until Republicans can also get the immigration reforms they want. And yeah, I know, look, the border is a problem, but it didn't help the Democrats' case when Zelensky showed up by walking in through Mexico. The crazy thing is, many Republicans in Congress actually agree on the funding. So you'd think they would just vote for it and move on to other important issues. Like, y'all, why are you stopping Ukraine from getting weapons when you could be stopping women from getting abortions? Eyes on the prize, Republicans, come on. That was one of the less popular ones tonight, I see, from this lefty crowd. But look, let's move on from Congress to some major political news about Hunter Biden, seen here thinking about hookers. No presidential family member in recent memory comes with as much baggage as Hunter, and now the law has finally caught up with him.
Breaking news overnight, Hunter Biden, son of the president of the United States, now indicted on 9 counts related to his taxes.
The 9-count indictment, 6 misdemeanors and 3 felony charges accusing Hunter Biden of failing to pay $1.4 million in taxes from 2016 to 2019. Special counsel David Weiss insisting that during that time, Biden was living an extravagant lifestyle, spending on drugs, escorts, and girlfriends, luxury hotels, rental properties, exotic cars, clothing. In short, everything but his taxes. Biden allegedly shelling out more than $600,000 on various women, another $397,000 on clothes, and more than $180,000 on adult entertainment.
In 2018 alone, he spent $43,000 here at the Chateau Marmont, where he admits in his memoir he partied so hard, hotel management kicked him out. Special counsel David Weiss says Hunter tried to write off his wild spending as tax deductions, claiming a $10,000 fee for a sex club was a golf club membership, and a $1,500 Venmo payment to a stripper was a payment for artwork.
Wow. All right, claiming a stripper as artwork is like the nicest compliment ever to that stripper. She's like, am I turning you on? And he's like, actually, you're making me reflect on the interconnectedness of light and darkness. Now I shall slip a 20 between them titties. But yes, look, Hunter Biden spent millions of dollars on drugs and sex instead of paying his taxes, and it's shocking to think that the presidential race might come down to who goes to jail first, Hunter Biden or Donald Trump. Although, maybe if we're lucky, the two of them might end up in a cell together. Like, you throw George Santos in there, and I am watching that show. Seriously, though, I feel bad for Joe Biden. People say he needs to rein Hunter in, but, like, how? His old-timey vocabulary doesn't even cover this kind of stuff. Son, I heard you've been smoking the jelly beans, watching the hanky-panky reels, paying birds to shake their fannies. We're almost out of Schlitz. For more on the Hunter Biden indictment and its consequences for 2024, let's turn to Michael Kosta. Michael, I know this story gets complicated with all the tax issues. What are the implications for 2024?
Well, Cal, as someone whose accountant is currently in prison for murder, I can tell you Hunter's situation is devastating. I don't think the Republicans are going to survive this.
Wait, Republicans? You mean Democrats?
No, I mean Republicans. Because on the one hand, yes, these charges against Hunter paint the picture of a deeply troubled man. But on the other hand, these charges also paint a picture of a man who is, and I can't stress this enough, so cool.
Cool? What is cool about this?
Oh, great question. Everything. I mean, the 2-week benders, the sex clubs. He's like a one-man episode of Entourage, the coolest show. The guy even got kicked out of hotels for partying too hard, which is way cooler than getting kicked out for crying too hard. See if I ever stay at that Best Western again.
I'm sorry, Michael, but I disagree. It is not cool to spend $1 million on drug-fueled sex parties and then try to get the IRS to pay for it. You know what? Actually, as I'm saying it, it does sound pretty cool.
Right? Right? And that's going to be the Republican Party's big problem. If voters start to think of Joe as the kind of guy who can snowplow coke with Hunter in the champagne room, well, that destroys the Republican narrative. He's not Sleepy Joe. He's wide-eyed, energetic Joe. Yeah. With a bunch of crazy ideas, and most of them are about a train that can go to Mars, but he's engaged, and that's what America wants.
I don't know, man. I don't know if people will vote for Joe Biden just because they think his son is cool.
Well, first of all, Cal, I didn't say his son is cool. I said his son is so cool, which he is, and that's what the Republicans don't get. Hunter's got Lambos, porn, sweet clothes. What's Trump got? A golf cart, high cholesterol, and indictments? Indictments about documents? Boring. Good luck in the election, nerd.
Hang on, Michael. Hunter isn't even the person running against Trump.
That's right. which is why I agree with you, Kal, that he should be. People always say they like Biden, but they wish he were younger. Well, you got your wish, Democrats. Hunter Biden 2024. You don't even have to change the signs.
That sounds so cool.
I told you.
Michael Kosta,
I told you.
everybody.